And you make a great point about the internet coming into the picture also. Just to prove it, I was out at the Green Festival. We featured about it in our blog, and then I got in touch with Dr. Danaher, all within a matter of a week, and here we are sitting today and talking. So perfect. So moving from, say, the classroom to Congress, moving to policy matters and general issues, do you feel the government is doing enough when it comes to the environment, sustainability practices, and in general, trying to push towards a greener economy?
It's very mixed bag, and I think you can say that as you get down closer to the local level, you see better things going on. For example, the federal government, which is terrible backward, you've got people in Congress who say they don't believe in global warming, like it's Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. It's not about belief, it's about science. As you get down to the local level, and I'll give you an example, the Kyoto Accords. The Kyoto Accords were rejected by the U.S. Congress. The Clinton administration, Al Gore, they wanted to sign it. Congress wouldn't go along with it. And every state has city governments. There's about 900 city governments. In fact, we write a chapter about it in Building the Green Economy. There's about 900 cities in the U.S. in all 50 states that have signed on to the Kyoto Accords and are implementing policies in line with those accords. Here in San Francisco, we've hit 77% diversion of waste away from the landfill into recycling and composting. We have the largest municipal solar panels in the country. You see all places like Salt Lake City and Anchorage, Alaska, doing things like trapping the methane at the sewage plant or the garbage dump, burning the methane to create electricity to power that facility. Los Angeles is replacing all their street lights with LED lights. They're going to save about $10 million a year in electricity costs. So it's very contradictory, and this is why I focus mostly on the local level, partly because I did live in Washington for 5 years. I saw how hard it was to make change there. But also when you look at the record, it's at the local and state level that we can have the most impact.
So clearly, the government may not be able to come to the rescue, or may choose to be distracted by a lot of politics and just getting involved in other things. In such a situation, the scenario doesn't still change. The environment we live in is still the same. It's getting degraded, polluted, and so on. What does the average citizen do? What can they do on their own?
I think the most important thing for any person is to sit down, take a piece of paper, and write out the different roles you play. Okay? You're a worker for maybe 8 hours a day. If you're lucky enough to have a job, maybe you have 2 jobs, so maybe you're a worker for 12 hours a day, not 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day or whatever. You're a parent, you're a brother, you're a sister, you're a churchgoer, you're a student, you're a teacher, you're a bus driver, whatever. But you're a citizen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. From the moment you're born till the moment you die, you are a citizen. The principle of democracy is that we, the citizens, are supposed to rule. We are the 4th branch of government. Most of us were miseducated about this. We were told there's 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, and judicial. But there's the 4th branch, the citizens. And we are supposed to rule over the government. It's why our Constitution, our founding document, the most basic law of this country, starts with the 3 magic words, we the people. And they did that for a reason. They wanted people to get the idea that government is a derivative institution. It derives its authority from the informed consent of the governed. And that's why Thomas Jefferson and other original leaders of the country focused on an informed people. When they got the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, most people were illiterate. They had readers go around, people with big voices go around and read it out loud to the public so that they would understand you, the people, are supposed to be in charge and run it. A lot of people think the government is the boss and we're the workers. No, we are the boss. They work for us. The White House is public housing. It's nice public housing, but it's public housing nonetheless. We own it. The streets, the forests, the air, all of that, that's the property of the people. I think that what we should do in the green economy movement, the fair trade movement, the progressive movement, we should have a subtext that says government is us. It's not good or bad. It's us. If it's bad, that's our responsibility. It's our fault. And it's our responsibility to change it. So any problem that we see has to be taken as a challenge. And what I say in the green economy movement is every one of these environmental problems, instead of lamenting it, oh, woe is me, we're screwed, look at it as an opportunity. You've got a waste problem? Okay, well, let's put liquid compost in recycled soda bottles and sell it as plant food. There's a company, TerraCycle, based in New Jersey and Los Angeles. They started their business model with liquid compost, it's worm poop tea, in recycled soda bottles. They've now got over 100 products. They're in Walmart, Target, Home Depot, all these stores. They're making tons of money, and it's all pulled out of the waste stream. We did a chapter in our book, Building the Green Economy, about this company, and we titled it, Your Business Plan is Complete Garbage. Because it is. All their material is garbage. And Tom Sacchi, the guy who started it, absolutely brilliant guy, he was 24 when he started the company, a college dropout. He said a very interesting thing when I interviewed him for the book. He said, I didn't start the company to save the environment. I started the company to prove you could make a lot of money saving the environment. And that's the sweet spot, the overlap between the green of money and the green of nature. That's where the real movement is happening. And that's why I'm trying to create real estate platforms to congregate and aggregate that green economy movement that's made up of mostly small companies.
Very well put. So, and even to the point about how we ought to be flexible in looking at things differently, the founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson included, had said that, hey, every 20 years, go visit that document. You know, maybe it needs to be changed. You know,
Yeah.
maybe there are things in there which don't apply today.
If you go to the Jefferson Memorial, I always encourage people to do this. You go out late at night, it's still lit up, very safe and quiet, and you read chiseled into the marble these quotes from Jefferson. There's a quote up inside the rotunda that a lot of people don't see, and you have to sort of turn around. You almost get dizzy reading it. He says, on the altar of God, I pledge undying hostility to any government restriction on the free minds of the people. Because the free minds of the people was the basis of democracy. Well, think what's going on in the Middle East right now with these governments being overthrown. People are being shot dead in the streets and they still keep protesting because the internet has made it possible now to have global brain, for the free minds of the people to go beyond any national boundary. And that's why there's such a sense of chaos and change. We're going from the nation state as the most basic unit to global brain and global consciousness and global human rights and global environment, and people realizing there's one race, the human race. We need to start acting like a family and taking care of each other.
What a great way to tie it all together. You know, really it's about global exchange, which is started many, many, many years ago. And we now see the tools of the internet, you know, the democracies which are sprouting in different places, people starting to think, all of that is coming together. Any final thoughts or comments?
Well, as a citizen of the United States, I feel a particular responsibility because we're the empire. We are the last empire at the end of the age of empires. We had the British Empire and the Dutch Empire and the Portuguese Empire, and those have all collapsed. And now the U.S. is collapsing too. And a lot of these things you see, like the budget deficit and the debt and these wars going on that, you know, I mean, the governments that are being overthrown in the Middle East, the governments that we're supporting in Iraq and Afghanistan are just like, I mean, if we hadn't invaded Iraq, Saddam Hussein would be in power now and he'd be being overthrown by mass protests. And we wouldn't have had to spend $1 trillion on it. So we here in the United States have a special responsibility to transition, to figure out how to not crash like all the previous empires did, but to have a soft landing. And the local green economy and the fair trade economy are our way to create jobs and move us away from this world policeman dominate the world. So I'm actually pushing an idea of transitioning U.S. military bases, we have 865 military bases outside the United States, to transition them into being eco-universities and eco-industrial parks that would create green jobs and train people in organic agriculture and green building and recycling, renewable energy, energy efficiency. And we'd learn because Germany and Japan are ahead of us in solar energy and things like that. So we've got to get away from the militarism, the violence, the racism. The United States is the most diverse country ever in world history. So for us to have a racist foreign policy where we're supporting dictators, holding people down, that's got to end. And it will end. It is ending. It's just a question of how do we educate the American people to go along with that transition and make it a peaceful transition instead of trying to resist it. And I think we need a combination of emergency heart, fix these problems yesterday, not tomorrow, but long-term consciousness, the kind of consciousness that was possessed by the Masons in Europe who laid the foundation layer of those cathedrals that took 400 years to build. They knew they wouldn't see the final product of their work, but they knew they had to do very solid, precise work because of all the weight that was going to come on top of their work. So there will be a future global economy with no clear-cut forests, no endangered species, no wars for oil, etc. The question is, how do we build the foundation now that'll be solid enough that future generations can build on that and reach that world of abundance and peace?
Definitely, what you could say is a long-term vision or strategy, but then you need sort of on-the-ground tactics today to avert some of these issues we've been talking about. Well, Dr. Danaher, I wish to thank you again for taking the time to speak to us today. We'll definitely be back in the future when the Green Economy Center opens. Thank you so much. We salute you. For the We Salute You series, I sign off here. Thank you.